The journey began not with the spectacle of a discovery visible to all, but with a measurement demanding quiet precision, the initial stroke of a grand interstellar portrait. A distant traveler, logged and labeled as 3I Atlas, crossed the solar frontier carrying a speed and a path that immediately denied all familiarity, establishing itself as an exception before the first headline could be written. Its motion was defined by an eccentricity around 6.14, a specific mathematical value designating a course so profoundly hyperbolic that it transcended the gentle, looping curves of any known celestial body within our solar dominion. This object did not merely approach the sun and then turn away in an open loop, but rather it cut swiftly and uncompromisingly through the planetary plane, moving with a direction that felt almost linear, like a deliberate vector rather than a reaction to local gravity. The initial geometry of its path created a foundational contradiction, presenting a precision of motion that seemed to deny the statistical chaos of unguided nature, immediately inviting a deep, intellectual curiosity about forces operating beyond the expected. The first true physical signal arrived through an invisible spectrum, marking a vital observation rather than a spectacular image, restoring dignity to data over drama. In the ultraviolet range, NASA's orbiting detectors quietly registered the distinct spectral lines of hydroxyl gas, OH emission, a faint but unmistakable signature confirming the presence of water. This specific chemical fingerprint announced that sunlight had succeeded in breaking apart molecules once bound as liquid ice, scattering their fragments across the vast, cold emptiness of space. That water activity was detected so far from the sun's core, at a distance where heat alone cannot easily explain sublimation, carried the tone of a whisper from deep space, suggesting a chemical process where none was expected, proving that expectation itself is the boundary of knowledge. The observation did not come with a visible flash or an image of vapor plumes, but only through the raw numbers and the ratios of the OH emission lines, challenging the comfortable certainty that everything unusual must be inherently ordinary. The very confusion caused by this finding, the discovery of water activity without a clear thermodynamic trigger, served as a testament to the integrity of the instruments and the honesty of the process, demonstrating that misunderstanding, when measured accurately, proves the integrity of the inquiry. The response from established institutions, however, began with a cautious retreat into familiar vocabulary, a pattern often seen when observation outpaces comfort.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
While analysts verified the data on the comet's linear trajectory, official communications offered quiet, calculated statements, often calling the extreme geometry a mere coincidence shaped by the dynamics of a brief gravitational encounter. To seasoned observers, those careful pronouncements carried the faint echo of avoidance, the learned institutional habit of minimizing phenomena that refuse easy categorization, fostering an unspoken tension between the fidelity of the instruments and the rhetoric of certainty. Many among the public, who had long felt excluded from the narrative of discovery by the deliberate simplification of complex truths, heard in that official tone the old impulse to normalize the truly astonishing. When the numbers confirmed the non-gravitational acceleration was almost absent, contrary to what the visible gas and dust emissions suggested, the paradox became a measured reality, proving that evidence itself could escape bureaucratic control and offering a profound moment of vindication to those whose long-held doubts were finally substantiated by verifiable light. Following the initial detection, the James Webb Space Telescope brought its unmatched infrared vision to bear, moving beyond the ultraviolet signature to uncover physical traces written into the traveler's very surface. Its sensors revealed a thick crust scarred and hardened by the ceaseless bombardment of cosmic rays over immense stretches of time, layers transformed by radiation from interstellar travel. This relentless exposure had chemically altered the outer shell, turning it into something foreign, aged, and compacted beyond the memory of its original form, a kind of dark armor against the emptiness of deep space. The crust functions as both a shield, preserving the volatile secrets that may lie beneath, and a mask, hiding them from easy human view and complicating the separation between what belongs to the object's origin and what belongs to its endurance. Interpretation under these conditions becomes inherently uncertain, forcing observers to acknowledge that the universe uses time and distance to rewrite matter, establishing an inherent complexity that resists simplified, authoritative explanation. This encounter with a structure reshaped by eons instilled a subtle serenity in the audience, replacing the initial fear with the quiet assurance that the cosmos operates under a profound continuity, transforming what might have been chaos into a display of lawful, though unfamiliar, order. The next decisive set of spectral revelations arrived through the James Webb Space Telescope's near-infrared spectrographs, which separated light into its chemical components to reveal the object's true atmospheric breath. This deeper probe found a composition strikingly dominated by carbon dioxide, establishing an extraordinary 8-to-1 ratio of CO2 over H2O, a signature that fundamentally disagreed with the familiar thermal profiles of comets born within the Sun's dominion. Further analysis uncovered water ice grains that were minute and amorphous, lacking the crystalline structure that forms through repeated heating and cooling, suggesting they were ejected by the deeper, more volatile gases pushing them outward, acting like an ancient preserved relic. The spectral code also carried faint whispers of carbon monoxide and carbonyl sulfide, confirming an exotic mix that stood outside the common catalogs of known solar system worlds, demanding a complete recalibration of cometary classification. Yet the telescope's precision uncovered a profound and unexpected silence where iron, so common in planetary dust and space rock, was conspicuously missing, suggesting that the long exposure to radiation had somehow purified its chemistry beyond the reach of our typical solar processes. This quiet reversal, where the universe had withheld a fundamental element, delivered a kind of poetic justice, proving that nature, not ideology, restores balance by challenging human assumptions with a complexity that is beautiful in its defiance of expectation.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
Calculations soon confirmed that this unusual chemistry belonged to a body of enormous scale, placing the traveler's magnitude beyond the reach of ordinary cometary dynamics. With an estimated size of 5 kilometers across and a mass calculated to be greater than 30 billion tons, 3I Atlas transformed from a fragile icy visitor into a dense, cohesive planetary shard. This sheer weight meant the object's density was sufficient to resist the pressure of the Sun and the internal recoil that should have been caused by its own sublimation, explaining why the expected non-gravitational acceleration remained vanishingly small. The nucleus, therefore, behaved as if anchored beyond measure, moving with an unperturbed momentum that contradicted the messy dynamic outgassing visible on its surface, confirming that weight often hides behind simplicity. Scientists noted that while the equations had long explained the light weights of local comets, this massive silent traveler demanded a new level of theoretical humility, forcing the realization that precision itself can expose the limits of comfortable assumption. This objective sense of scale, where human disputes vanish before the vastness of 30 billion tons of silent mass, offered a deep perspective, binding the viewers into the small, attentive community who understood that this phenomenon resisted containment and required observation without closure. As the object neared its closest point to the Sun, the visible evidence added startling contradictions to the already rich chemistry and immense mass, creating new layers of complexity that resisted any singular interpretation. Ground observatories noted that the faint luminous jets emerging from the surface occasionally appeared to orient toward the Sun, displaying a baffling reversed geometry that defied the standard laws of thermal expectation. This directional anomaly did not suggest the chaos of random sublimation, but a subtle, regulated pulse, behaving with a gentle symmetry that seemed too stable for uneven venting, hinting at forces that endured even when others fell quiet. Furthermore, spectroscopic readings detected traces of nickel vapor, a compound rare in natural cometary chemistry and often suggestive of high temperature or industrial processes, further complicating its origin story. Despite this accumulating evidence of exceptionalism, institutional press releases continued to affirm the object's cometary nature, acknowledging unusual photometric behavior while framing the event as a test of modeling rather than a breach of understanding. This sustained institutional caution, however, only amplified the quiet revelations being shared among independent analysts, providing an undeniable moral dynamic where persistent observation and the sheer weight of accumulating data gradually humbled the rhetoric of certainty. The ultimate philosophical difficulty of 3I Atlas lay in its hyperbolic trajectory, a motion so precise it suggested method where only randomness was assumed. Its vast course, defined by an eccentricity over 6, was tracked across multiple global observatories, which plotted points that showed a displacement from the simple gravitational prediction. This non-gravitational acceleration was real, yet it behaved not with the jittery chaos of unequal venting, but like a subtle, persistent pressure, a disciplined, symmetric movement some orbital modelers described as a whisper of control. The math did not necessitate an engine, yet it could not dismiss one, allowing the quiet space for meaning to accumulate in the margins of the technical papers. This exactitude felt profoundly unsettling, transforming precision from a source of comfort into evidence of an unseen mechanism, proving that the cosmos does not argue but simply displays, using silent geometry to correct arrogance. The quiet acknowledgement of this baffling precision, which led to clarity about the limits of knowledge, served as a profound relief, replacing the tension of the initial anomalous observation with a serene respect for the object's undeniable, measured lawfulness. Further observations added structural and light anomalies to the mounting contradictions, revealing a phenomenon designed for methodical doubt, not immediate resolution. Ground observatories, including the Gemini South and the Keck Observatory, strained their vast mirrors to search for the telltale plumes of release, finding instead only structural asymmetries and a faint feature spanning nearly 600 kilometers, which some called an anti-tail that became its identity. The comet's surface also shifted hue, sometimes turning intensely blue, suggesting ionized compounds uncommon in natural comets, and occasionally matching spectra linked to industrial processing, creating an enduring, balanced ambiguity. Even the brightness of the object fluctuated in abrupt pulses, resisting the rhythmic thermal modeling expected of a cometary body and standing outside all known taxonomy. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb drew attention to the scarcity of released telemetry, arguing that the omission of complete data bred speculation more efficiently than any truth could be revealed, reminding the institutions that transparency is not granted but demanded by the evidence itself. For those who felt excluded from the scientific narrative, this open discussion about missing data and unexplained motion provided a renewed sense of belonging, transforming their initial confusion into a validated form of honesty, proving that their vigilance was justified by the complexity of reality. Today, the object moves silently beyond the solar frontier, but its enduring legacy is the quiet correction it brought to human perception, ensuring that the next interstellar visitor will be greeted with a more disciplined humility. The arguments it ignited have already reshaped how scientists communicate uncertainty, proving that the experience of confronting the unknown without surrendering to fantasy is the most valuable inheritance of the encounter. Its anomalies, including the missing iron, the CO2 dominance, and the subtle, persistent acceleration, may ultimately represent the future of celestial classification, where the boundary between the natural and the artificial blurs not through deception, but through the sheer scale and age of the cosmic process. Phenomena shaped by ancient immense forces can indeed echo the precision once thought exclusive to intelligence, inviting a gentler skepticism that doubts arrogance rather than distrusts the evidence. The moral dynamics of its passage resolved into a serene conclusion: that transparency was rendered unavoidable by the very technology designed to observe the truth. What remains is not controversy, but the memory of light measured honestly, an institution momentarily transparent, and an audience finally vindicated by the astonishing complexity of a universe that asks only to be seen without presumption. In the stillness that follows revelation, humanity finds its equilibrium, and the enduring awareness persists that mystery is not the enemy of science, but its sustaining, most luminous light.